Hello, everybody. Welcome to my live. I hope everybody's doing well. And while it's Tuesday, I hope you had a good weekend. So, what are we going to talk about today? Well, EB1, employment based first preference. I want to talk specifically about the misconceptions people have about it so that if you're thinking about doing an EB1, or you know someone who's going to do an EB1, you'll be in a lot better position to understand the reality of it rather than, what people find on the internet. Okay? And then after, I will go and answer your immigration questions. So if you have immigration questions, go ahead and ask them. You don't have to repeat. I'll get them to you. I'll get the answer. And then afterwards, we'll call it. Okay? So, first of all, what's an EB1? E is employment, B is based, 1 is first preference. EB1's first preference. And we're going to be talking today specifically about EB1A because that's the most important. That's the most popular. As far as EB1s go, that's the most popular. So EB1 is referred to as Extraordinary Alien Petition. Now, the name itself is a little intimidating, right? If you're going to apply for it, are you extraordinary? What does that mean? So let me just jump right out the gate here and tell you what the big, huge misconception people have is. They go on the internet and they research, they say, what do I have to do to qualify for EB1? And what the internet comes back saying, more or less, is that there's, 10 different categories and you basically need to get 3 of them. So these people go, well, heck, all I need to do is get in 3 categories, published, salaries higher than normal, things like that. Get in 3 categories and boom, I have the EB1. And the reality is that is not true. Okay? The reality is that is just the starting point. The EB1 is meant for people at the very top of their field. Okay? And even if you only needed 3 of the 10 to qualify, a lot of times people will, wanting to make themselves qualify, will say that they are in 3 of the categories, like they'll have published 1 document type thing, and they'll say, well, that satisfies 1. And they'll get, unfortunately, an overestimation of their qualifications. So let's just use, for example, that they do qualify for the 3 items in the 10. That is the starting point. Okay, that's not the ending point. That's not I'm in now and I'll get the EB1. No. If that were the case, then 8 out of 10 people who applied would qualify, and it's actually much more of the opposite in the reality. Okay, so the starting point is you fall under about 3 of the different categories. Okay, then comes the hard part. The hard part is showing you are at the top of your field. Okay, that's the hard part, that you have national acclaim, that you're at the top of the field. That is where it gets really difficult. And you have to have in mind that the EB1 is the creme de creme of employment-based petitions. You don't need to have your own petitioner. There's no backlog, okay? And if you get it, you're going to get the green card, and you just have to work in the field you said you were going to work. So it's a fantastic way to get the green card, but it's a very difficult way. And you have to get out of your mind that you think just because you have the 3 categories of the 10 that you're in, no problem, slam dunk. Okay? Slam dunk is not a term I would use with the EB1. It is always very difficult. And the majority of the time, we'll also get a request for evidence, RFE, requesting tons of different documents, okay, and explanations and so forth. They they are not there to give you the EB1A easily, okay? So hopefully I've elaborated enough to make it clear that the 3 out of the 10 is just a starting point, and then comes the hard work of proving that you are of extraordinary ability. All right? Okay. So, let's go back to the beginning here. Everybody joined. If you do have any questions, now's the time to ask. Okay? I have here, it says invite Walker. Walker, do you want to have a consultation on the live here? Let me know. Okay. Same with Roxy MB. What is the new BIA? Okay, this is from Callie Pinned. What is the new BIA decision? You're going to have to be a little more specific. You know they issue different decisions all the time. So what are you referring to? Okay, and I'll let you know. Okay. Let's see. I'm just scrolling down. Be patient. It's the only way I can see the questions is to scroll down everybody that joined. Okay, just a minute. Okay, so it turns out that we don't have a lot of questions today, so just one comment. You know how Mike Johnson is not swearing in the democratically elected Democrat from Arizona, and how he hasn't called back Congress in a month? Well, minus the fact that he's pretty much made the House irrelevant, you have to keep in mind that there are a lot of people fighting for the immigrants to help them, okay? And while the Constitution's being violated every day, while it looks like we're back to 1945 in some respects, there are, behind the scenes, lots and lots of lawsuits, okay? And don't fool yourself. There's a lot of judges out there who still follow the law, who still rule in favor. Even Trump appointees, I've seen many of them rule under the law. And even though ideologically it's different than others, okay, on one side versus the other, they do follow the law. And so while, I sort of picture it as, the administration like throwing spaghetti up against the wall and whatever sticks. Don't lose sight of the fact that there are lots and lots of immigration lawyers fighting for immigrants. You know AILA, which is American Immigration Lawyers Association. There are over 11,000 members. Okay, can you believe that? And that's attorneys, 11,000 immigration attorneys. And it might be more this year, I'm not sure. And so litigation, when something is unlawful or unconstitutional, goes forward. And even though you see atrocious violations, hence what, Mike Johnson's doing, it's not stopping the lawyers from fighting for the immigrants up and down, backward and forward. So don't lose hope, okay? When you see all this stuff happening every day and you get down, don't lose hope, because I am very confident that one way or another is not going to last forever, And when the time comes, the proper resolution will be made, of course. So, given that, let me just make sure there's no other questions. That's me on my little soapbox, saying like it is. Because you know what I find a lot of people, they're so down because they think that they've lost and they think that there's nobody fighting for them, but there is. Okay, right. I think that'll do it. Let me just make sure. Okay, so that'll do it for today. If you have, any questions you didn't get to, just send me off an email. All right, everybody, have a good day.